Dr. Brown, how are you doing?
Doing great. Great to be physically here with you today.
This is a first time this has happened. So we had Sean Spicer sitting in that chair just a little while ago. So this is sort of like a day of first here on the radio show.
It is.
All right. Well, folks, let me give you the telephone number, 888-788-9910. That's 888-788-9910. Dr. Michael Brown is here with us. Brand new book out. This is launch day. Jezebel's War with America, the plot to destroy our country and what we can do to turn the tide. That's one heck of a book title, Dr. Brown.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the subject matter kind of exploded on me. If people know the Bible, Jezebel was this very wicked woman. She seduced Israel into idolatry. She emasculated her husband. She killed the prophets. She's associated with sexual immorality and with sorcery. And then 1,000 years later, Jesus refers to a woman. He calls her Jezebel. Same type of characteristics. And I began to look in our society, and I started to connect the dots of some of the greatest things that we're facing in our day, from the militant shout your abortion, baby killing movement, to the radical feminists, to the rise of witchcraft, ostensibly more witches today in America than Presbyterians. And then, of course, the sexual seduction.
Wait, what? More witches than Presbyterians?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Numerous articles stated that. And you go back to the late 60s when one of the feminist organizations had the acronym WITCH. So the rise of the feminist witch, the emasculating of men just becoming jerks, from Father Knows Best type stuff to Homer Simpson, to the silencing of the prophetic voices. Jezebel intimidated with fear. And I thought, well, wait a second, connect the dots. The same demonic forces that were operating through Jezebel 3,000 years ago are operating in America today. It's not just a natural battle, it's a spiritual battle.
All right, AskDrBrown.org is the website. Dr. Brown is a talk radio host, also an incredible author. How many books? We were talking about this in the break.
36 now.
Jeez, Lou, I can barely get one out. I don't know how you do it with your schedule. Folks, this is a great opportunity for you to call in and talk with Dr. Brown about the culture. 888-788-9910 is our number. That's 888-788-9910. You know, Dr. Brown, you mentioned this war on men in America, and there does seem to be something happening here, especially in light of the shootings in El Paso and Dayton. Is there a crisis with men in America right now?
Yeah, there's been a crisis for some time. Right now, if a man wants to be a godly man, wants to be a strong leader, wants to be the head of his own care for his wife, protect his children, that's toxic masculinity. There's been the dumbing down of men from the Ozzie and Harriet type wise father to the everybody loves Raymond incompetent type of jerk. So you have that. Then you have, with the rise of radical feminism, women can't be women anymore. You couple that with the war on gender, and you see there's a lot of confusion. What does it even mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a husband, to be a father? That's under attack now, and there's an emasculating that takes place where men can't be men. I'm not talking about being machismo or beating up your girlfriend, God forbid. But for a man to be a strong leader, that is going to bring you in direct conflict with this Jezebel experience. And then you have the absentee fathers, then you have the rise of a fatherless generation. It's a formula for disaster.
So you're not surprised that we're seeing these kinds of attacks?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, the shootings can have multiple causes, and we don't want to generalize there. But it is a picture of a sick America. I mean, I get headlines because, same with you, as a radio host, I get news headlines sent to me every day. The first three I got sent yesterday were white supremacist kills the number in El Paso. Then the next one, socialist kills the number in Dayton. And then the next one, 25 shot and killed in Chicago in 4 hours. It's just a symptom of a very, very sick America. But where does the breakdown begin? It begins in the family. It begins in the home.
We were chatting before we came on the air. You mentioned you guys have multiple platforms.
Yeah.
You noticed a trend developing on your YouTube channel, the rise of anti-Semitic remarks.
Yeah. So I have been sensitive to the issues of anti-Semitism in the church for over 47 years. When I came to faith in 1971 as a heroin-shooting, LSD-using 16-year-old hippie rock drummer, my dad said, I'm thrilled you're off drugs, but we're Jews. We don't believe this. He brought me to the local rabbi. The local rabbi gave me a book on anti-Semitism in church history. Even though I had never experienced Jew hatred growing up, I became sensitive to the subject, and for many years, I would teach Christians about some of the bad parts of our history, and they were all shocked to hear it because they loved Israel, they loved the Jewish people around the world. They were shocked to hear this. Well, literally, Todd, in the last 3 months, I have confronted more anti-Semitism from professing Christians than in the last 47 years combined, from Catholic to evangelical.
I'm shocked to hear this. Why do you think that is?
It is now time, it seems like, for all of the irrational hatred destroyed. The white supremacists that hate people of color also hate Jews. The black supremacists who hate whites also hate Jews. There's a dynamic now. You've got some of the very, very liberal members of the House espousing anti-Semitic things. You're not getting adequate pushback to it. And the media for years and years has been making Israel into the evil entity. Israel is the apartheid state. Israel is genocidal. You've had a generation growing up with that. And then as people don't see the miracle of modern Israel, they just see it as another state. As the Holocaust is an increasingly distant memory, it's as if that old Jew hatred is rising to the surface again.
It's this idea of really destroying history. We've been dealing with that here in America with the statues and the attacks on the founding fathers. But there was a story out of Florida. There was a high school principal down there who doesn't believe the Holocaust exists, and he didn't understand why that was a big issue, being the principal of a high school down in Florida.
Yeah, and the moment that we draw attention to these things, that proves that the Jews control the media, and the Jews are trying to take over society. And hey, look, is it something that the most liberal members of the Supreme Court are Jews and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world are Jews? So the conspiratorial theorists, they've got all their ducks in order and they think they've proven their case. And the moment you speak up against it, Todd, I've been preaching Jesus for over 47 years now. Daily, I'm told I'm a fake Christian. I'm a secret agent of Mossad. I've infiltrated the church to undermine the faith. That's how sick this is. And I'm not exaggerating.
This is unbelievable. I mean, are you serious?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we had a break, I'd show you literally thousands of comments that I've just filed that I've had to spot.
I think one of the things that astounds me is that when you start speaking out about these issues, I used to be a straight news guy. When I switched over to opinion and started writing about these big issues of the day, the culture issues, I was really shocked at how much hate I was getting in my email. And clearly you've experienced the same thing. Oh
yeah, I'll post something. I try to be gracious. I try to be fair. I try to be balanced. I try to take responsibility for our sins, shortcomings, etc. And I'll write the most loving post, and then you're a homophobic bigot, you're a Nazi, you're KKK, and whatever, and the hate comes pouring out in the name of tolerance.
Yeah, we just had we were talking about Mario Lopez, the guy on the TV. He was on Saved by the Bell, and he was doing an interview, and he was talking about this Hollywood craze where they want to let the 2- and 3-year-olds determine whether or not they're transgender, and he basically said, "You people are nuts."
Yep.
And he had to walk that back. He had to apologize, and the guy could still lose his job at NBC because of something as common sense as that.
Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner said that he experienced more pushback in Hollywood for being Republican than for becoming a woman. And look, to me, this is all part of Jezebel's war with America, the war on gender. It's part of it.
All right. Can we take a call?
Yeah,
all
sure.
Right, here's our telephone number, folks, 888-788-9910. Let's go to Frederick, Maryland. Donna, listening to us on WARK. Donna, you are on the air with Dr. Brown.
Yes, and Dr. Brown, it's so interesting to hear your perspective because I literally was remembering when I was a child, I'd go to school and we would pray and we would say the pledge and we would sing God Bless America. And the 10 Commandments were a normal part of my upbringing. It was a part of my life, still is. And what I'm seeing now is there are so many factors involved in this war on America, war on goodness, faith. And what's sad to me is what we're really witnessing, and people will not say this because they're afraid to, but not only is it demonic, but we are looking at, the left calls us and these evil people are calling us evil white supremacists, but in reality, they're socialist, communist supremacists. So we have our hands full. We're dealing with kids with pot that are young, whose minds developed wrong because they're addicted to drugs. We have legal meds that are a problem. We have violent games that are a problem. We have pornography. We have the feminist movement.
Donna, let me jump in here.
It's all of it.
Donna, let me jump in here. I mean,
Sure.
she's raising some pretty interesting issues here, Dr. Brown.
Yeah, and once again, we are dealing with lots and lots of issues that are ultimately spiritually related, and there are problems on the right,
Correct.
and there are problems on the left, and there are problems with race issues, and there are problems with all kinds of other things. So, we do what we do in society. We vote, we get involved, we take our stands, but ultimately it is a spiritual battle.
You say there's a plot.
It is a spiritual battle, and it also starts, you've got to keep your faith in your home. It starts there.
Yep.
And then it becomes your community, your school, your town, and it grows. And that's what we need. We've got to go back to a very simple mindset, and it's a biblical mindset. And without that, you have nothing. You can't see the wind. You don't know it's there, it's like God in your life. You can't see the wind, but you know it's there. And
Donna, good point, and appreciate the call there. Look, she raises some great points here, Dr. Brown, is that there is a religious component here, and that religious component is also the answer, I suspect, to the problem.
Yeah, the last two chapters of Jezebel's War with America, one is how to defeat Jezebel in your personal life, so start where you live, and then how to defeat Jezebel on a national level. So, yes, again, we get involved on every level of society. We take responsibility for our situation, but if we don't understand ultimately that God is the only hope of America, and if we don't fight a spiritual battle, we will lose.
I have seen a disturbing trend over the past couple of years where many of our once prominent religious denominations, evangelical denominations, conservative denominations, are disengaging from this culture battle. And I'm wondering how big of a deal that is, and what the ramifications of that are.
The ramifications are massive. It's a very big deal. If we are called to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world, and we don't do our job, there's going to be moral and societal collapse. Martin Luther King indicated that we're not to be thermometers, but thermostats. We're not to be measuring the temperature, but setting the temperature. So if we don't shine, if we don't stand, if our families are falling apart, if our churches are not sounding the alarm, then how in the world can we bring about change? And part of the Jezebelic theory and strategy is to silence prophetic voices. And here's something sobering, Todd. Around the world, you know it, you follow these things. Our brothers and sisters are being slaughtered for their faith. They're being beheaded for their faith, burned alive, buried alive. We're afraid to speak up lest we get unfriended on Facebook. We need a little chutzpah. We need a little courage. We need a little boldness.
I love that. What's that word again?
Chutzpah. Yeah.
We need that. We need that in the I'm a Baptist, so I'm not sure we have that. We don't have rhythm either, but we need that.
Yes, and look, here's the deal. If we do not stand and act, we're going to have to apologize to our kids and our grandkids. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said the ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world that it leaves to its children. What kind of world are we leaving to our children?
I mean, look, I think this is the perfect time for this book to be coming out, and it's a great message that I think the rest of the nation needs to hear.
I appreciate that, and I wrote it with extreme intensity. 70% of it was written in a 6-day period of day and night writing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
My goodness. And by the way, I was surprised to learn this. I wasn't picking up the accent, but you're from North Carolina.
Well, I live in North Carolina, but I'm from New York.
You're from New York,
from
though,
New York.
But you live in New York or North Carolina.
Yeah.
How do you like North Carolina?
It's been great, but I love being in the city.
Really?
Oh,
all
yeah.
right. We have a lot of listeners down in Morehead City. That's one of our big affiliates, and we have a lot of Northerners who move down there, and they love it.
I prefer the intensity of New York and the push and the shove and the busyness, but North Carolina's been great. We've been there since 2003.
All right. Well, we're excited to have you back. So anytime you're back in New York City, we'd love to have you back on the show.